The story begins in a quiet, forgotten town, a place where the days pass slowly and the nights stretch long. The kind of town where everyone knows each other's names, but secrets still linger in the shadows. Children whisper about him in the schoolyard, daring each other to say his name 3 times in front of a mirror. The adults pretend not to listen, brushing it off as foolish superstition, but sometimes when the streetlights flicker at midnight, they catch a glimpse of something. Something that shouldn't be there. They call him the man with no face. No one knows where he came from, only that he's always been there, lurking at the edges of their lives. Some say he's a ghost, a remnant of some long-forgotten tragedy. Others believe he's something older, something that existed before the town itself. His presence is felt before he's seen. A cold draft in a closed room, a flicker of movement in a darkened window, the unsettling feeling of being watched when no one else is around. The first real sighting happens to someone unimportant, a night watchman, a bartender closing up late, a tired nurse walking home after a double shift. They see him standing beneath a flickering lamp, his silhouette too still, too perfect. When they call out, he turns, and that's when they see it, or rather, don't see it. Where his face should be, there's nothing. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth, blank skin stretching over empty space. And then, just like that, he's gone. The witness stumbles back, heart pounding, telling themselves it was just a trick of the light, just exhaustion playing games with their mind. But later, when they're alone, they catch something in the mirror, a shadow that moves when they don't, a shape that shouldn't be there. And that's when they realize he's not gone. He's just waiting. The night air is thick with the hum of distant streetlights, their orange glow barely cutting through the fog that rolls in from the outskirts of town. The streets are empty, too empty, even for this hour. The witness, a weary bartender named Daniel, locks up the tavern, the jingle of keys unnaturally loud in the silence. He's lived in this town his whole life, heard the stories, but he's never believed them. Not really. Then he sees it. At first, it's just a shadow at the far end of the alley, a tall, motionless figure standing beneath the flickering bulb of a dying lamp. Daniel freezes. His breath fogs in the cold air as he squints, trying to make sense of what he's seeing. The shape is too still, too wrong in its stillness, like a mannequin left out in the night. "Hey!" he calls out, voice rough from a long shift. The word echoes too loudly, as if the town itself is holding its breath. The figure turns. Daniel's stomach drops. There's no face, no eyes, no mouth, no hollows where features should be, just smooth, unbroken skin stretched over nothing. The streetlight flickers again, and for a heartbeat the thing is closer, though Daniel never saw it move. His pulse roars in his ears. He stumbles back, keys slipping from his fingers, clattering against the pavement. Then, nothing. The alley is empty. Daniel exhales sharply, shaking his head, forcing a dry laugh. Too many late nights. Too much cheap whiskey. He picks up his keys, fingers trembling, and tells himself he imagined it. But as he walks home, he can't shake the feeling that something is following him, matching his steps, just out of sight. That night, in the dim glow of his bathroom light, he catches a movement in the mirror, a shadow behind him, darker than it should be. He whirls around, but there's nothing there. When he looks back at the mirror, his own reflection stares back, pale and wide-eyed. Except, for just a second, his reflection doesn't move when he does. And in the glass, something behind him tilts its head. The town wakes to an unnatural quiet, the kind of silence that presses against windows and lingers in doorways, heavy with something unsaid. It starts with small things. A child's bicycle left abandoned in the middle of the street, its wheels still spinning lazily. A half-drunk cup of coffee on a kitchen counter, gone cold. The lipstick smudge on the rim, the only sign its owner was ever there at all. Then the whispers start. Mrs. Henderson's grandson, Tommy, doesn't come home from school. At first, she assumes he's playing in the woods like he sometimes does, but when dusk settles and he still hasn't returned, she calls the sheriff. They find his backpack near the old train tracks, his notebook inside. The last page is a child's drawing, a tall, faceless figure standing beneath a crooked moon. The sheriff swallows hard and tucks it away before Mrs. Henderson can see. The next night, old Mr. Greeley vanishes from his bed. His wife wakes to find his side empty, the sheets cold. The only sign of disturbance is the open window, curtains fluttering in a wind that doesn't exist. Neighbors swear they heard him talking to someone in the dead of night, his voice low and trembling, repeating the same phrase over and over. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. By the third disappearance, the town is drowning in fear. A young waitress named Lacey is closing up the diner when she sees him, the man with no face, standing across the street, his blank visage turned toward her. She runs, her breath ragged in her throat, and makes it all the way home before she realizes her keys are still in the diner door. When she turns to go back, she finds her reflection in the hallway mirror doesn't move with her. She screams. The sound is cut short. In the morning, her landlord finds the door unlocked, the television still on, playing static. Her coffee mug sits on the table, still warm, but Lacey is gone. The worst part? No one remembers her face. The rain comes to town like an uninvited guest, cold, persistent, and unwelcome. It drums against rooftops and fills the gutters with whispers as Detective Grayson steps off the bus, his coat collar turned up against the damp. He's a man out of place here, his sharp edges and city cynicism at odds with the town's slow decay. The sheriff called him in as a favor, though neither of them will admit it's because the locals are too afraid to handle this alone. The case file is thin. Too thin. Missing persons reports with no evidence, no signs of struggle, just empty spaces where people used to be. Grayson flips through them in the dim glow of his motel lamp, the names blurring together. Tommy Henderson, Leonard Greeley, Lacey Monroe, each one a life reduced to a few sparse lines on paper. But it's the photographs that unsettle him. In every one, the faces of the missing seem faded, like the camera itself struggled to remember them. His first stop is the diner where Lacey worked. The coffee tastes like ash, and the booth creaks under his weight as he questions the staff. The cook remembers her voice, but can't picture her smile. The other waitress hesitates, then slides a napkin across the table, a shaky drawing of a figure with no face. She talked about seeing him before she disappeared, the waitress murmurs. Said he was in the mirrors. Grayson scoffs, but that night, in the motel bathroom, he catches his own reflection pausing a second too long. The next morning, he visits Mrs. Henderson. Her house smells like mothballs and grief. She clutches Tommy's notebook to her chest as she describes the drawing he made that last day. He said the man was learning from them, she whispers, learning what faces look like. By the time Grayson reaches old Mr. Greeley's widow, the pieces are slithering together in his mind. The widow's hands tremble as she pours tea. Lenny started seeing him after the accident, she admits. That boy who died out on Route 17. Lenny was driving. He never forgave himself. That's when Grayson understands. The man with no face isn't just taking people. He's collecting them. The power goes out just past midnight. Detective Grayson sits at his motel desk, case files spread before him like the pieces of a nightmare he can't force into sense. The storm outside has grown teeth. Wind howls through the streets, rattling windows with icy fingers. Then, between one heartbeat and the next, the lights die. Darkness swallows the room whole. Grayson's hand goes to his service weapon by instinct, but his fingers freeze before they touch steel. Because in the blackness, he hears it. The soft, wet sound of something breathing just behind him. Too close, too human, too wrong. The bathroom mirror. He realizes with dawning horror that he's been avoiding it all evening, ever since his reflection lingered a second too long. Now, in the storm's intermittent flashes of lightning, he sees the glass is fogged, though the room is cold. Words smear across its surface in trembling finger-drawn letters. You see them too now. Grayson's breath comes fast. The motel walls feel thinner suddenly, as if reality itself is wearing away. When the next lightning strike comes, the mirror shows him something impossible. His own reflection, yes, but behind it, standing in the bathroom he knows is empty, is the man with no face. Closer this time, close enough to touch. Grayson stumbles back, knocking over the lamp. Shadows leap like living things. The air smells of ozone and something older, something buried deep in the earth. He fumbles for his flashlight, clicks it on, and the beam lands on the figure at the foot of his bed. No face, no eyes. But Grayson feels it staring anyway, drinking in his terror, his guilt, the secret shames he's carried for years. The thing tilts its head, and suddenly Grayson understands why the missing all whispered apologies before they vanished. The man with no face isn't just taking faces, he's judging. Grayson's fingers find the rosary in his pocket, his mother's, unused for decades. He doesn't believe, but he clutches it like a lifeline, whispering, "You don't have mine." The rain stops. 3 towns over, a woman named Elise locks up her bookstore for the night. She hums as she walks home, her boots splashing through puddles left by the storm. The air smells clean, electric, alive. She doesn't notice, at first, the way her reflection in the shop windows lags half a second behind, or how, when she pauses under a flickering streetlight to check her phone, the glass shows someone standing just behind her, a tall figure, featureless, his empty face tilted as if studying her, learning her. Elise shivers and pulls her coat tighter. She tells herself it's just the cold. Inside her apartment, she pours a glass of wine and tries to shake the unease clinging to her. The news plays softly in the background. A reporter mentions a small town where several people have gone missing. Elise barely listens. Then, as she passes the hallway mirror, she freezes. Her reflection isn't moving. It's smiling at her. A smile she doesn't recognize. A smile with too many teeth. The screen cuts to static. Somewhere, a child's bicycle rolls slowly down an empty street, its wheels spinning, spinning, spinning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.